Hello, everyone. How are you today? Yes, I hope you are pretty well. So, in this moment, we are from Group 6 would like to present about the point of view in the Telltale Heart story by Edgar Allan Poe. But before that, let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Niputudesi Krishna Dewi as the second speaker, and my friends Gede Suatnya Swastika as the first speaker, and Anggar Bagus Utama as the last speaker. All right, next slide, please, Desu. Yes, here is the contents of our presentation today. For the first is definition and who speaks. It will be explained by Desu, and then to whom and in what form will be explained by myself, and then the last at what distance from the action and with what limitation will be explained by Anggar Bagus Utama. All right, without any further ado, let's we begin the presentation. For the first part will be explained by Desu. Desu, the time is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Daisy. Now we will discuss about point of view. But before that, let us discuss about the definition of point of view. So, point of view is an angle which is visual and moral. It is about how the story plays and the perspective of the story from the teller. Let us discuss about angle. It can be divided into two. Yeah, the first one is visual angle, and then also the second one is moral angle. Visual angle means that how we see the story, because we will have different perspective of the story, but we will have same point of the story. And then moral angle means that we will get the moral value from the story, because every story will have moral value. Yeah, from the moral value we will get something learned. For example, like politics, social, economy, love, friendship, and etc. Yeah, this statement is from Elizabeth Bowen, 1946, in the page of 256 in Cosno Subroto, 1988. Now, let us discuss about several parts of point of view. The first one is who speaks. According to Buraway in Kusno Subroto 1988, who speaks can be divided into three. The first one is first person, second person, and third person. First person means that the narrator as the character in the story. Means that the narrator or the writer of the story will be the character in the story and will be explain about how the story happens, which means that the narrator will tell us about how the story starts, and then the plot, the character, it can be setting and until the end of the story. The characteristic of the first person is using I, we, and etc. And then second one is second person. The reader is the character in the story, which means that the reader will know everything in the story. For example, like the character, plot, and then the setting, climax, and etc. The reader will read it, and then the reader will know about how the story happens. It can be stated that the second person has a characteristic which is using you, and then the third person is the narrator knows and tells the story, which means that the narrator will be the character in the story and explain about how the main character will do action, and then the story happens. It can be like the beginning until the end of the story. The characteristic of a third person using she, he, they, and etc. For example, like she already knew about how it can happen, which means that the narrator will explain about the character of she. She will be the main character of the story. All right, now let us back to the analysis, which is the story of the Telltale Heart. it is using first person point of view. Why it is using first point person point of view? Okay, now I would like to read one of paragraph in the story so that I can explain it more detail. All right, now I would like to begin it. No, they heard. I was certain of it. They knew. Now it was they who were playing a game with me. I was suffering more than I could bear from their smiles and from that sound. Louder, louder, louder. All right. The word I means that the narrator as the main character. It means that the narrator, or we can say that the writer of the story, will explain about how the story happens by using the word I. Yeah, and then the narrator will explain about the characters of the story, because as we know, the narrator in the story will kill the old man, because the narrator or the writer hates the eyes of old man. That's why first person of point of view in the story using I, because all the paragraph using the word I. Okay, that's all about my explanation about definition and who speaks. Next explanation will be explained by Desi Krishna. For Desi Krishna, time is yours.
All right, thank you, Desu. So now I would like to explain the to whom and in what form of this story. So first, to whom. To whom, it means the story is intended to whom. According to Kusno Subroto, 1988, actually there are three types of to whom. They are the reader, the another character, and the self. The reader means that the story is intended to the readers who is characterized or uncharacterized. And then the definition of another character, it means the story is intended to the person who also as an actor in the story. And then the self, it means the story is intended to the writer of this story. Therefore, based on the story of the Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, and then based on the definition of the types of to whom, this story is intended to the reader because the author want to entertain and tell the readers about the story happened. And then beside of that, the reader is uncharacterized because they just read the story. Next slide, please, Desu. Yes, in what form? In what form means that the form of the story, according to Cosno Subroto to 1988, it can be written story, spoken story, reportage, oratory, monologue, conventional, journal, diary, interior monologue, stream of conscientiousness, and etc. Furthermore, this story belongs to written story because the writer tell the story in the written form as we can see, and then it's supported by the whole of the story. The writer tell the story in detail and structurally written form. All right, that's from me. For the next presentation will be continued by Bagus. Bagus, the time is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Desi Krishna, and I will explain the rest two subtopic or the contents called distance and limitations. So first thing first is at what distance from the action. So basically there is a lot to tell from this point of view. So in this section, the terms of point of view like reader, writer, narrator, temporal, and so on. So the first thing that I will explain is reader, writer, and narrator point of view. So why I combine these 3 points? Because this story focuses on the first person perspective, as Swatnya said before. So the explanation in this point will represent these 3 things. So as you can see in the story, it shows that he is healthy in thinking. So it is shown in the early stanzas or paragraph of the narrative that he had good thoughts or was in a normal situation. But after that, in the after sentence and stanzas, the fact, the reality, the situation is the figure I or madman was unhealthy or in an abnormal situation. So there is a lot. There is a lot of ambiguity in this pool. Besides, he be able to hear anything. He can also what is it? Know the feelings about the old man feeling. As you can see in the slide about the example of the quote. So recently I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror and blah 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 blah. So and then the next is temporal. So this is not too specific telling the time because readers can feel the course of the story. It means that in this point of view, in this perspective, this story not too obvious telling a story in a particular year, but this I want to kill the old man. So I want to kill the old man in the night and then at 12 and so on. So there is the temporal about this pool. And then the next slide, please. The next slide is spatial. So spatial points of view, I mean. So these points means to the position of the speaker, which affects the pool or the story. So this story will get the spatial point of view refers to us as readers. So what is it? The narrator speaks in the story as if telling the story to us as readers, and we fall into the scope of the story. So as a simple way, as if we are being told by the figure I. So this can be seen from the use of I and you as a diction in the entire story sequence. As I located the example, the quote example, listen, listen, and I will tell you how it happened. You will see, blah blah blah. From that quote, we can say that um, we we as readers directly feel the vibes being told by figure I. So in other words, like we as reader physically meets and told by the figure I in the story at the moment. And then the next is moral point of view. So the moral point of view can be obtained, can be located in each character. So it depends on us as a reader. So every reader can be a madman figure. So it's the number of all situations allows us to put moral according to what the readers get. As you can see, the narrator is unreliable because what? Because the narrator kills the old man because he just hates his eyes. That's not reliable. As you can see in the slide, his eye was like the eye of vulture, the eye of one of those blah blah blah. So so there maybe he see that the eye of the old man reflects deeds and then reflects of something bad. So that was why he really hate and kill him. And then the next next point of view is intellectual. So this intellectual point of view is already located in the sentence in the paragraph but implicitly. So as you can see when the what is it, when the madman talk to the police that there is an okay condition, but in the real way, the old man was killed by him and already located in one of the room in the house, basically. So this shows that the narrator is under stress or a little bit crazy. So he will do anything to kill the old man. But the way the way the narrator killed the old man is with a plan, has stages, and what is it? And crazy person has no love, has no heart. And then the next slide, the next point of view is aesthetic point of view. So with this correct characterization that have no certainly it names, it allows readers to be anyone, as I said before. So the aesthetic point of view in the story is depicted in every aspect, like forward plot and then picture given, and also giving what is it, brought to the full scope that made us as a reader feel the vibes, feel the suspense, feel the thrill. And then the next is a physical point of view. So readers can experience firsthand how the process of killing the old man. So I mean like uh, physically we meet the old man, meet the madman that killed the old man as a reader, or we as a feature eye that killed the old man. And then the last two is educational perspective. So it is located in the other side of the story because this whole story is explained about the murder, the kill of old man by the madman by feature eye, and then the experiential point of view is what is it? It seems like what is it? We as a reader will seem to have the story, so this experiential point of view contained in the story is perhaps the narrator's previous experience with something. So he describing the eye color of the old man scary as the narrator imagines. All right, and then the last subtopic, last content is the limitations. With what limitations? All right, so in the Telltale Heart, the narrator is unreliable. As what you said before, the narrator was hate the old man, and then he kills the old man, but just hit the was it the eye. So this is not reliable, this is not reliable. So, but in the first sentence that he said, he was saying, I was saying, but in reality, he was not well. He was not in a good condition. So because what? Because as we know, in logic, a person who was sane or mindless didn't need to convince to anyone that he was not insane. So yes, this is about my explanation about my part, and then the next part is the perceptions of our both of the Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. In my perceptions, the story was interesting for me, and they use diction I, they using first person perspective or point of view that make me as a reader feel the vibes directly, feel the scary, feel the thrill, and this also the suspense. And I think it is good for the readers that love this story, the Telltale Heart. So yeah, thank you so much for this is my perceptions, and the next perception will be Desi Krishna's floor, please.
Okay, thank you for my perception. I agree with you, Bagus. I think the story is really, really interesting to read, right? The plot is really easy to understand. It can make the readers can feel the story. And then from the story, we can learn that we must be a responsible person to our action, because if we have secret about our mistake, it will always haunt our thinking and uh, can give bad impact to our mental. All right, that's from my perception. How about you, Desu?
All right, thank you so much, Desi Krishna. I would like to give my perception to this story. I agree with you guys because this story is very great, but maybe it's very scary because it is about a killer story. I cannot imagine that the writer or the narrator, or we can say that the main character, kill the old man because the eyes. It's very odd reason because it's not the reason for us to kill someone, right? So I think this story is very great because the diction, the plot, the way the narrator explained about the story. And I think that we can learn from the story that we have to control ourselves to be a good person because there's no reason we kill someone because it's not goodness, right? All right. Next, it is about reference. We use reference to explain our analysis and then explanation of point of view. Now I would like to give the time to Desi Krishna. Desi Krishna, time's yours.
All right, thank you, Desu. Yes, all of my friends, that's about our presentation. If you have any question, you can ask in our virtual meeting. Thanks for watching and see you.